Hey, it's Joe. Here's another one. This one is from Dave Wold. Dave says, I'm totally sold on your push-button Automarketer and other systems after looking on from afar for years. The trouble is, my wife is not. Another get-rich-quick scheme, she says? Forget it. How do I sell her on you and your course so she will sign off on the money that it takes to get started? Well, I don't know exactly how to convince her to do it. What I do see her perspective, and I see this happen a lot, where the spouse, husband or wife, because we've got both males and females in this situation, where I see the spouse looks at their entrepreneur spouse and says, are you going to spend more money on learning how to do stuff? You're going to take another class? You're going to do, you're going to buy another get-rich-quick scheme? What's going on? You're going to lose more money? You're going to take out another loan? You're going to screw up your credit again? I see the perspective, and especially if you've been doing it for a few years or a few decades, which I know some of you have, or some of you have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on training and not succeeded. And so I can see their perspective, and I can see why they might be hesitant to spend more money, because they don't think that it's going to work for you, and it's not something that they would do. Remember, 3% of the world is entrepreneurial. We're a very small portion of the world. We're a very small portion of the population that think that it makes sense not to have a job, that it makes more sense to have your own business where you have control of your own life. We all have that dream, and that's why we're here. That's why you're listening to this video. That's what I did with my business, and that's what I created in my life, so that I could have the freedom, the control, and I could have the opportunities that you don't get by working a 40-hour-a-week job. It's just so much more fun to do it the way we do it. But a lot of people don't need the security over the freedom. There's always this battle between security and freedom. And she may be feeling, that her security is threatened when you take on expenses like this. Whereas you are feeling that your freedom has been threatened and is under siege all the time because you're working at a job that you hate, or you're working at a job that ties you down. Even if you like the job, it ties you down. So you're trying to break away from that. We can understand what her situation is. So what you're going to have to do is show some results, and maybe stop looking at some of the get-rich-quick schemes that promise you things that don't make much sense. You want to go after things that don't require your credit, that don't require your cash, that are not multi-level marketing. I know that there's a lot of people that have made money in multi-level marketing. I know there's a lot of fans that like that. I don't believe in multi-level marketing. If you sit down and do the math on this, it doesn't work very well unless you're at the top of the pyramid. It's a pyramid scheme. So if you've done multi-level marketing like this before, you've done it that way. Also, if you've done conventional real estate training, most of it teaches you how to go out and get a loan, or how to go out and get private money, or how to borrow money in order to do deals. What I teach you is how to structure deals properly, how to use marketing that brings in the types of deals that you can actually structure in a way that doesn't require your credit, that doesn't require your cash, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to do it. Now, the other issue is she may think that you're not going to do the work, that you're not going to follow through, that you're going to do it, you're going to put it, and you're going to put it on your shelf, and you're not going to follow through with the stuff that you teach. And I can guarantee you, if you don't do the work, you're not going to make a dime. Now, in my mentor program, I guarantee everybody that comes into my mentor program will make money. I guarantee it. But I also guarantee that if you don't do the work, if you don't follow through with the stuff that I teach, that you're not going to make a dime. I tell everyone that comes into my program, and I have this conversation literally with every single student, every single mentor student. Give yourself 3 to 4 months before you can expect to make money in this program. I've got people make money in a week, 2 weeks, but they're the exception, not the rule. So give yourself the time so you don't get discouraged. Know that it's going to take time to follow through with this process. Now, it's not going to take years. It's not like going to college. It's kind of like paying for a semester of college. It's about the same expense, but it's not like going to college where you have to go for 4 years and then you have to go out and find a job, or you have to go out and build a business. And mostly colleges are designed for you to go out and get a better job, not for you to learn how to build a business. So if you want to build a business, you need to learn how to build a business, and that's not something that's normally taught at the university. So if you're going to go out there and you're going to get and you're going to learn this stuff, and you're going to follow through with the process, and you're going to have to give yourself 8 or 10 hours a week to devote to this, to give it a serious try. If you don't have that time, don't do it. A lot of times what happens is life gets in the way. You know, you get home, you're tired from a long day of work. You just want to sit down in front of, Game of Thrones and relax and take some time to yourself and take a breather. If you're willing to put in the extra 2 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week, you'll be fine. And you'll be able to make money at this, and it will change your life. When you start making a regular income like this, it doesn't take long before you can replace your income. If you're making $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 a year, it doesn't take that long to replace that kind of income. If you're making $200,000 or $300,000 a year, and I have students that do that as well, then it takes a little bit longer to get up and running. But during that time, you have a lot of freedom, and you're suddenly you're learning how to automate. If you're making that kind of money already, you already have some ideas on how to work with people, how to get people to work with you, how to automate processes, how marketing works. Most people that are in those kind of income brackets are already doing this kind of stuff, so it's easier for them sometimes to get up and running quicker. Plus, their idea of what a good income is different than the idea of someone who's making $30,000 a year. Their idea, they're thinking, hey, I just hit $30,000, I'm doing great. I'm making $2,500 a month, I'm doing great. Or I'm making $60,000, I'm at $5,000 a month. I did one deal this month, and I have to do one deal a month. It took me 3 hours to do that deal. And suddenly you slack off, and that $50,000 is acceptable to you. If you want to expand to 100 or 200 or 500,000, you have to know that I'm going to have to put in the extra work to make that happen, and that takes some self-discipline, and it takes the willingness to do the work. I also believe it takes a love of this process, and as you get into it and as you get better at it, you'll learn to love it. And I believe that at the beginning, most people don't enjoy the first things that I tell them to do, which is to get on the calls or to get on the phone and talk to sellers and put deals together, and that can be a little uncomfortable at the beginning. But once you get through that process, that 4-week, 6-week, 2-month process, once you get through talking to 20, 40, 60, 100 sellers and get that process done, and you can talk to probably realistically 20 people a week, 20 sellers a week, make 20 offers a week, if you're working 8 to 10 hours a week at that process and you're focused on that one task. If you do that, within 4, 5, 6 weeks, you'll have talked to 100 people, and you'll be very good at talking on the phone if you keep going back to what you're saying and saying, okay, what worked, what didn't work, or if you're talking to me and we're doing role plays, in my mentor program, and we're doing a role play, and I'm listening to you talk, and I'm hearing, okay, why don't you try this instead of this? Focus on this, because one little tweak sometimes can make all the difference when you're in this process. So anyway, that's a long answer to, how do I get my wife to do this? But really, it's not about your wife. It's about you having the confidence that you can do it and understanding how you're going to get to that next level. And hopefully some of the things that I just told you will help you explain it to her so that she can feel more confident that the way you're doing it this time is going to work. You also, I believe, and you may not be in this situation, but I know other people are in this situation where, like a husband will say, well, I just don't want you to spend that money, honey. They're very conservative. They're very, they've got a good job. They want you to stay home with the kids, but maybe that's not your personality. Maybe that's not what will fulfill you in your life. Doesn't mean you don't love your kids. It means that you want something different for your life, that your personality is something that needs, this kind of process or this kind of success to make you happy and to see that success. And the other things may be a little more boring to you. So this is something that sometimes you just have to stand up and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow through with this. Please stay with me, honey. Sweetheart, husband, wife, significant other, whatever it is, stay with me, because I'm going to learn this process. And whether I learn it this week or this year or this decade, this is where I'm going with my life. And I want to be with you, but I also know that I have to follow through with my life as well. And they have to accept that in you. So, I can't tell you how to run your relationship or your life in those senses either. And I'm not just talking to you, Dave. I'm talking to everyone, and myself included. We have to make a decision about how we're going to live and what's acceptable in our lives in order to be able to share that with somebody else. Anyway, I hope that helps. Thanks.